Today on Adjusting, we are continuing our From Fear to Freedom series. What if it actually works out? And we're going to talk about something that is pretty quiet, something that shows up and is dressed up as I'm taking my time and I want to make sure everything is right and I'll get to it when the time is right. We're talking about avoidance. And not just avoiding conversations, but avoiding the life that you deserve. This is a part of curiosity, and I just hope by the end of this episode, we are able to take one small step towards the life that we want to live. So sit back, relax, and welcome to Adjusting. And we're back with another episode of Adjusting Podcast with your host, Justin G. Nelson. How are y'all feeling after last week? Like, I just wanted to do a temperature check because that thing was good, okay? I was proud about that episode. I was like, yes, rigidity and growth mindset and hypervigilance and all those terms that I hope you remember, okay? Also, I really recommend everyone getting The Company We Keep by Alexandra L. because that book, I posted some notes from the session and she reposted it. So we're going to manifest that one day she will be on here once I get my new computer and I can start having guests and all that stuff. But anyway, welcome back to another episode 16. We are moving through this series of From Fear to Freedom and imagine what it would look like if it actually worked out, you know? So today we're talking about adjusting your approach. But before we get to that, thank you to TJ from Tea with TJ Podcast for editing. If y'all need somebody to edit y'all podcast and do y'all, call him. He's available. Trust me, he can do more than one podcast at a time. He has a whole system set up. And thank you all for subscribing to the YouTube channel, following me on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. Like, I really appreciate all of that. And yeah, just thank you for doing the work and showing up. I'm pretty sure people around you are seeing the difference. Shout out to Jesse for those notes. Okay, sir. I was just like, oh, he took notes. He took a lot of notes, and I was proud. I was proud that people are really doing the work. Again, I'm not a licensed therapist. I do have aspirations of going to school to learn more in an academic state and setting so that I'm able to really give you like what things like by the book and by research. But until then, I'm doing my own research. Okay. My research is my life. And in therapy, doing the work and in other settings doing the work. So again, thank you for being here. Now, let's get to our sacred breath so we can get to this episode because it's a good one. All right. So if you're driving, focus on the road. Okay. Focus on the road. You can hold the steering wheel and breathe with your eyes open. If you're at home or at work or somewhere where you can ground yourself, put your coffee down and ground your feet flat on the floor. If you're new here, we do this sacred 4-7-8 breathing just to help reset our nervous system. And it's a very good thing to do like 3 times. And it's really helpful to get you out of a state of anxiety. It's scientific proven. So anyway, plant your feet flat on the ground. Close your eyes. Relax your ankles, your shins. Relax your knees and your thighs. Relax your hips because that's where a lot of trauma and stress is stored. Relax your stomach. Relax your chest. Relax your shoulders. Roll your shoulders back. Relax your neck. Relax your chin, your cheeks, your forehead. Close your eyes. And we're going to breathe in for 4, hold for 7, and release for 8. Let's begin. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let it all out. Let it all out. Okay, let it all out. We're going to do one more collective breath, just a deep breath in and out, just to get anything else out that is holding you back from being focused. Okay? So breathe in and out. Okay, so again, today we're talking about adjusting your approach, facing fear one small step at a time. Simple, okay? But the thing I want to talk about today is avoidance. Because to me, avoidance is nothing but settling with a lot of excuses and a matcha. You know, we can make avoiding things look good for the sense of protecting your peace, and a lot of us use the saying, "What's for you won't pass you by." Are you working towards the thing? Like, it's one thing to be actively working on something and say, "What's for you won't pass you by." But when you're actively avoiding something, thinking that it's just going to fall out the sky or just randomly knock at your door, I don't think that's how it works. I don't think that's how it works. So let's talk about it. What is avoidance actually? All right, avoidance is when fear gets loud enough that we start organizing our whole life around not feeling it. It's not laziness, it's not weakness, it's just actually your nervous system doing what it was designed to do. Because at the end of the day, your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a dog chasing you or you waiting for test results for something. Okay. It just knows that you are sending some signals to the nervous system saying, I'm worried, I'm afraid, I'm stressed. And that happens. Okay. We talk about that a lot. Um, and it's the same when the protection mode gets stuck on avoidance, that becomes a lifestyle. So, what the freeze actually looks like, because that's essentially what avoidance is. It's like a freeze, like an emotional freeze that happens. We tend to think avoidance looks dramatic, like not leaving your house, you staying in the dark, your phone is not on do not disturb. Um, you're very short in conversations, but most of the time it looks more ordinary than that. It looks like staying busy so you never have to sit with silence. Yeah. So don't confuse it with depression or high functioning depression. Like it's just avoidance. It looks like saying I'll start when I'm ready for the fourth month in a row. I'm talking about myself. Baby, I've been on this fitness journey since the pandemic, and I think it's me. Like, I thought it was my trainers. It's me. Like, I'm the drama. And I'm still, like, making this episode, I am still trying to figure out what the hell is keeping me from doing it. And I keep saying, I'm just tired, working on Broadway and doing that job every night. It becomes tiresome, and I don't have the energy to get up and work in the morning. So I just keep putting it off and say, well, I'll just eat healthy, and then because I say eating healthy is 80% of the issue, and 20% is working out. But then on the other side, when it comes to avoiding, it looks like researching things over and over and over. You know what to do, just do it. But again, if you are stuck in avoidance, that is what it looks like. You're writing the same paragraph over and over again. You keep making a to-do list for your to-do list for your to-do list, but nothing is getting done. Okay, we're avoiding something. And it looks like keeping yourself in almost relationships because a real one might actually break your heart. The low grade hum of not yet is avoidance. And it is exhausting. Yeah, in a way that's really hard to explain to people who haven't felt it. So in relationships, it looks like keeping emotional distance even with people you love because closeness has hurt you before and vulnerability feels like handing someone a weapon. We struggle with being vulnerable. And then in creative work, it looks like that brilliant idea that lives in 17 memos. You got it in the notes app, a notepad, your email, you made a Substack, you got a Notion, you got a Milanote. Okay, you've made an Instagram page for it, you got Google Docs. It's all over the place. But nothing has come from that concept. That is a sign of avoidance. In your healing, it looks like knowing you need therapy, knowing you need to leave a toxic situation, knowing that you have to do the work in order for the work to work for you. We know these things, but yet We have settled and gotten comfortable in discomfort and avoiding the fact that we have work to do. Because opening that door means actually having to walk through it. In your daily life, it looks like the email you haven't sent, the doctor's appointment you haven't made, the dream you've been almost ready to pursue for a while. Why? Why do we get stuck in this place of avoidance? Now, another type of avoidance that I really want to talk on that has been weighing on me for months is conversations. Okay, so avoidance in community, conversations, and just general everyday life. So there's a particular type of avoidance that hides behind being an introvert, being independent, being selective, and it shows up in three ways. So first, conversations, the ones you keep rehearsing in your head but never actually have. The check-in you haven't sent, the boundary you haven't named, the I've been thinking about us that's been sitting in your drafts for 3 weeks. We avoid hard conversations because we're terrified of the response. Yep. And the conflict, the rejection, the silence, the follow up, the accountability, we avoid all of that and the conversation that would lead to it simply because we just aren't ready. And I think that is what it boils down to. Yeah. And so instead, we keep the tension, we keep the misunderstanding, we hold the stress, and because some of us have high functioning anxiety, we then create false scenarios or we catastrophize. We talked about that in part one, creating things that never really happen because we don't want to have the conversation. And it shows up in friendships, it shows up in relationships, it shows up in your job, in your healing spaces, in your churches. Like it shows up across the board. And I'm just like, a lot of things can be resolved if we just had the conversation. A healthy conversation is because some people you can't talk to. Okay, some people have their own script of how things should go because they are narcissistic. Okay, they are led by ego, they are led by self, they are led by their status, and sometimes that conversation is silence. There's a lot said in silence. Okay. But second, in community, a lot of us who have been hurt by churches, by friend groups, by family systems, by relationships that promise safety and delivered chaos, have quietly decided that people aren't worth the risk anymore. So we say surface level. We lack depth. Okay, we lack um, fireside chats or sitting around the dinner table. Like we got away from those type of sacred community spaces because of social media. Okay, because of tradition, because of the lack of, I don't want to say vocabulary, but just for the lack of time due to doom scrolling, due to everyone being busy, due to I need time by myself. Like we got away from community. And I'm grateful for my book club, A1 book club. Like that's a third space, and we're able to just have conversations. Sometimes we barely talk about the book because we all just need some type of community. We show up to the thing but never go deeper. We say, I'm fine, I've just been busy. And mean, I'm terrified that if you actually knew what was going on with me behind the scenes, you would think differently of me. I tried to have a deep conversation with a friend and I was met with a I'm here for you. And to me, I don't think they were ready to have that conversation. I didn't want to push it. I didn't want to push it because in that moment, if they wanted to go deeper, they would have. Is that passive aggressive? It may be. Okay, it very well may be. I'm still healing too. But in that moment, I was expecting some other type of response. Will I follow up? Absolutely, because I care about them and I care about our friendship. And then the third option, the exploring with options. This is sneaky. So it looks like loyalty, but it's actually fear. It's staying in that job that's slowly draining you because at least you know you have this one. It's not applying for the thing because if you get it, it's still not enough. Imposter syndrome. Like, do I actually deserve this? It's not letting yourself Google the other possibility, because once you see it, you might want it. And wanting things is dangerous when you've been disappointed before. Avoidance of options is avoidance of hope. And that is one heartbreaking thing to have to process. Okay? But what do we lose when we keep waiting until we're ready? Now, when I was writing this outline, I'm gonna get real comfortable. I was just thinking, like, from a spiritual component. We have one life to live, okay? And I think I said that last episode. We have one life to live, and how you choose to live your life says a lot about your faith and your trust in God. And this is for my churchy people, okay? So every day you wake up, Kurt Carr wrote a song. Every day you woke up on the other side of the grave, that's a good day. And for me, when we sit in avoidance for too long, we are telling God that we are not worthy of any of the gifts that He has given us, and that we don't trust His plan, and we're going to operate on our own. But yet you're still here. So at some point, you have got to shift out of this mindset, this avoidance mindset. There might be a technical term for it. I don't know it. But what I do know is you are given a new opportunity each day to live the life you know you want to live. Okay? So I'm hoping by the end of this episode, we can find a way to make those steps to overcome fear or whatever it is that is holding us back. So here's the cost nobody talks about. Avoidance isn't just about what doesn't happen. It's about who you don't become while you're waiting. Every time you choose the safe route to avoid the fear, you send yourself a message, I can't handle this. You're sending God a message, I can't do this. Okay, rude. And over time, that message converts to some type of belief. You just don't avoid the thing. You start avoiding yourself. Okay, you don't look at yourself in the mirror. You don't care about your image and how people see you, how you see, like, you just lose your identity. And that's a lie. That's because we spend so much of our life forming this identity and how we want to be seen, to allow fear and avoidance to just strip us of that, because we're stuck. That version of you gets smaller every time you choose to wait. And meanwhile, life keeps moving. Opportunities don't hold. Okay. And again, I said we all subscribe to the topic or the quote, what's for you won't pass you by. If you're not doing the work, it's gonna pass you by. Okay. People don't wait forever. And the gap between where you are and where you want to be starts to feel less like a step and more like a canyon. All right. So if they can build these data centers in what's it, Arizona, Utah, Wyoming, somewhere, y'all can build your life. We gotta do it. We gotta do it. Avoidance is just settling with better excuses. So here's a reframe. I haven't said this in a while. Here's a reframe that I need you to sit with for a second. Avoidance is not the opposite of settling. It is settling. Okay. It's just dressed up in a different language that sounds more responsible, more palatable, more safe. But safe ain't always safe. Okay, safe is settling too sometimes. I'm being patient. I'm waiting for the right time. I don't want to rush it. And look, discernment is real. And timing matters, and not every leap needs to be taken today. You can skip, all right? You can rest a little bit. But some of y'all been resting too long. And that rest is starting to look like hibernation. Sorry. Yeah. So settling usually looks like a choice you made. Avoidance looks like a choice you never made at all. And somehow that feels safer, but the result is still the same. You end up in a life that is smaller than the one you were made for. You end up in the relationship that's fine, the job that's okay, the version of yourself that's functioning, but not free. We are trying to move from fear to freedom, okay? And somewhere deep in you, you know it. You know this is not the life you want to live. You know you are better than the job you have, the relationship you're in, the body you got, the finances you choose to settle for. You know you're better than that. You know it, but because you have gotten comfortable and capitalism has allowed you to reframe your goals and say, well, I just need to survive. No, you need to live. And I am guilty of that. I've been in New York for 12 years. And I was telling my therapist, my mom, Ebony, and some other people, just like, y'all, I am tired of just living paycheck to paycheck. I am tired of the bare minimum. I am too gifted and talented to just be like this. Okay. I deserve to be in bigger rooms. And that's why I'm showing up in this platform in this way. And I am praying for the people around me to do the same. If you're listening to this, this is my prayer for you. We are not going to be in the same space we are in today, next year. Amen. You're welcome. Okay. You have one life, one, and how you use it matters. I don't know. I mean, I don't say this to create pressure. I say it because I think somewhere along the way, a lot of us stopped believing our lives were really something that we matter. We are going through hell on earth with this president. This is the only political thing I will ever say on this platform. But this man is causing hell on earth. With Project 2025 and everything excuse my language, motherfucker is trying to do with black people, women, our right to vote, the healthcare system, and everything else that they are dismantling, we are tired, but we're still here. Okay? And there is some way that we shall overcome and we can overcome to get back on track for our goals and our mental health and our well-being. I don't know what it looks like, but I know it'll happen. Okay? I know what could happen, but I'm not going to say that on here. Okay? You picking up what I'm putting down? I hope so. But that specific combination of gifts, experiences, pain, and perspective that only exists inside of you is not an accident. We are all divine individuals. Your fingerprints are indication that not two people are the same. Even twins have different fingerprints. Okay, they might look alike, but they still their own person. And every day you spend organizing your life around fear, around avoiding the conversation, the creative risk, the vulnerable move, the new community, the unexplored possibility is a day that gift isn't being used. I'm not saying you got to work on something every day. T.D. Jakes said in his book, which book is it? Impact? One of his books. I haven't read his book in a while. I read it back in 2015. But he doesn't work on everything every day, but he makes sure he works on one thing a day. So maybe try that. Your window to build the thing, love the people, create the work, have the impact, it is real. It is moving. Okay? Time is a construct. And so is your time here on earth. So what you do with it matters. Now, a note about scarcity and abundant mindset here. Avoidance is rooted in a scarcity mindset. The belief that if you try and fail, there is nothing left. No second chances, no recovery, no version of that story where it still works. Abundance thinking doesn't mean toxic positivity. It means trusting that even if this specific thing doesn't work, you are not done. There is still an option B. There is still room for curiosity and the gray. Okay? That is abundance. There is more. There is still a path. And that belief, even a tiny bit of it, the mustard seed of it all. Now, this is random. This is very random. But is a chia seed smaller than a mustard seed? Because them things are small. That was random. But it makes the first step possible. Thank you. Now, for those who grew up in a religious space or who are somewhat in the middle of deconstructing that were taught, this might land differently. So take what resonates and leave the rest. A lot of us were raised with the theology that framed fear as a spiritual failure, as a lack of faith, and that added a whole layer of shame onto something that was already hard enough. Now, here's another reframe. What if avoidance isn't a sign of that faith is broken, but your nervous system is human? Nervous system, nerves is not really mentioned in the Bible. Not saying the Bible is faulty. I'm just saying it doesn't really talk about like mental health in characters. Now, there are like moments of suicide that are mentioned in the Bible, and there are thematic things that can correlate to mental health. But it doesn't talk about the nervous system. Okay. So when pastors preach about certain topics, you're just like, yeah, but like there's still that area of uncertainty when you're just like, now how does this really relate to this? But um a lot of spiritual traditions hold that you are placed here intentionally with something specific to do and someone specific to be. If that's true, then avoidance isn't just a personal problem, it's a spiritual one. Not in a shame-based one, but in a your gifts were never just for you kind of way. The world is waiting on a version of you that fear keeps trying to put on hold. You don't have to have it figured it out. Okay? You don't have to have anything figured out. Like I said earlier, when I was a child, I wanted to be a computer engineer. Look at me now. I do a lot of things. But you don't have to have it figured out spiritually to take the next step physically. Sometimes the step is the prayer. Sometimes the step is the act of faith. So take the next step. So we're going to move on to the next section, adjusting, and how to notice avoidance is running the show and what to do instead. So, how to catch avoidance in the act. The tricky thing about avoidance is that it's a master of disguise. It shows up looking like self care, and we love a self care moment, okay? But, so the first step is learning your own signature avoidance moves. You say sometimes like, I just need more time, I'm not ready yet, I'm being strategic. A lot of creators say that I'm being strategic, I'm waiting on this right date to drop at this right time. Like the algorithm has really effed up some of us when it comes to the sense of avoidance. But for some people, it's the busyness packing the calendar so full that the scary thing just never makes it onto the list. For others, it's perfectionism. Okay, spending so long making the thing just enough that it never has to be released. And for others, it's catastrophizing. So naturally fast forwarding to the end of something and seeing a disastrous outcome, and you never even do it. Okay, you're so fearful of the outcome that you don't trust the process. There are adaptive strategies that probably served you a point at some point or served you at some point, but they have an expiration date today. Today is the expiration date. So the difference between courage and confidence and why this matters. We've been sold this idea that you take action when you feel ready, when you feel confident, when the fear is gone, but I don't think that's how they work. Confidence is what you feel after you've done the thing before you feel ready. Okay, confidence is how you feel after you did the thing before you feel ready. That's the quote. They are not the same, and waiting for confidence before you act is like waiting to be a good swimmer before you get in the water. You don't have to feel brave to be brave. You just gotta move, baby. Move, man, move on them. Huh, okay? What one small step actually looks like. Now, this is not to pull from the one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. No, this is about mental health. It is not the big dramatic pivot. It is not quitting your job, sitting at manifesto, having the confrontation, making a burn book, putting people on blast, like something dramatic. It's not that. One small step is opening the document, texting the one person, saying out loud, even to yourself, I am scared, but I want to try it anyway. No, I am scared and I want to try it anyway. It's scheduling the appointment, not attending it. Okay? It's writing the first sentence, not finishing the chapter. It's telling one person about the dream instead of announcing it to the world. Small steps don't feel heroic. It's exactly why they work. They're manageable enough that your nervous system doesn't immediately sound the alarm. You're not tricking yourself, you're training yourself. You're building reps, okay? Emotional reps. Now, the body and the nervous system, because fear isn't just a thought. When avoidance kicks in, it's not just happening in your mind, baby. It's a full body experience. Again, your chest start tighten, your neck, you're like, your stomach start hurting, you look cramp here and there, your hips get tight, your hands might swell up. And it's your sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight response, doing its job. And trying to logic your way out of a psychological response rarely works. So before you take the step, you have to come back to your body first. You do that 4-7-8 breathing. Do it twice in the moment. I don't care who around. Pause and check in with yourself. Be grounded in your body, not in the worst case scenario playing in your head. There's a concept in a lot of spiritual traditions that I find beautiful. The idea that transformation doesn't happen through force, but through surrender into movement, not passivity, but and not giving up, but releasing your grip on the outcome enough to actually take the steps. So for those who are deconstructing, maybe that doesn't sound like prayer anymore. It sounds like trust, or maybe it sounds like therapy and a good support system. They're the same thing, just a different language. I'm not saying you got to pray. I love prayer. And I think that is something I want to get a minister or someone on here to really talk about the different types of prayer as it relates to mental health. That'd be a good topic. So come back for that. Now, section 3, applying. Here are 6 things to consider as you start facing fear one step at a time. Number 1, stop asking yourself if you're ready and start asking if you're willing. Okay, ready implies that fear will be gone, that you will have all the information, that the timing will be perfect. Willing just means I'm not sure how this is going to go, and I'm going to try it anyway. Willing is accessible right now in this moment exactly how you are. You don't earn willingness, you choose it. And choosing it once, even imperfectly, even scared, makes it easier to choose it again. Okay? Number 2, let your steps be small. I'm talking about like 1, 2 step. I ain't talking about 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1, 2, AB. Okay. Literally, if the step feels too small to even count, you're probably in the right territory, because our culture is obsessed with grand gesture. Okay, y'all want everything to be big. Y'all want the launch to be huge. What about a small launch? Small launches are meaningful. Beyonce is the queen of a small launch. Baby, she get Easter eggs. That's what they're called. Start dropping some more Easter eggs here and there, okay? It ain't gotta be big. It can be small, real small, tiny, real small. Great. Number 3, expect discomfort and plan for it anyway. Here's what nobody tells you about taking steps towards the scary thing. It's going to feel uncomfortable. Not always dramatic, sometimes just weird. People be weird, okay? It's like wearing new shoes. Your body isn't used to moving that way yet. That discomfort is not a sign that you're doing it wrong. It's a sign that you're doing something new. Embrace it. Number 4, build a witness into your process. Healing and growth in isolation is hard. And I'm grateful for my close friends who are able to witness the growth that is happening behind closed doors. So when people say, Justin, you acting different, no, I'm healing. But thanks for noticing. Say that. Thanks for noticing. I'm healing. But when you take a step, even a tiny one, tell someone you trust. Someone you trust, someone you would tell your deepest, darkest secrets to, because I've had my trust broken at a very tender age. Okay? And ever since then, I don't trust a lot of people. You got to sign an NDA sometimes. I ain't going to hold you. I'm not going to hold you. But number 5, let yourself want the thing you've been afraid to want. If exploring options has been your blind spot, if you've been so burned by hope that you stop letting yourself look, this is for you. A small step isn't even doing the thing yet. It's allowing yourself to consider it, to Google it, to check out a book at the library, to research it, to sit with what if this could actually work without immediately shutting it down. For conversations that you've been avoiding in community, yeah, that is what that small step looks like. Getting it out of your body and onto page so it stops circling. And for community, the small step is showing up once, not to perform, okay? Not to impress, but just to be present and see what actually happens. And number 6, measure your courage, not your results. The outcome of your steps is not always in your control. You might send the pitch and not hear back. Okay, I've sent some emails to some people. We were supposed to be having some meetings in March and April. It's June. It's June, and I haven't heard back from them. And I'm not even taking it personal, okay? Because I sent the pitch, I now have a pitch to send to others. Okay, some things are just out of your control. So measure your courage, not your results. You might have the conversation and not get the response you hope for. You might publish a thing and hear crickets. Okay, but you have the thing published. You had the conversation. The ball is no longer in your court. Okay, you have a whole free court now. What you gonna do with it? That is hard. It is real, and I don't want to minimize it. But here's what we can always measure: did I try? Did I show up? Did I take the step even though I was scared as hell to do it? Okay, those are the things to consider. And that is where real evidence lives. There is a bug in here that is getting on my nerves, but not in whether it worked out perfectly the first time, but in whether or not you were willing to move. All right. So that is the end of this episode. And I loved it. And I'm really glad that we are taking small steps together to overcome fear and to shift out of this avoidance mindset. I just want to say, if any of this hits you in a tender place, it is not an accident. The fact that you felt it means there's part of you that knows it's true. And part of you is brave. Not perfectly, not loudly, but genuinely brave. So think of one small step, just one, not a whole plan, not a 5-year vision, not a 12-week year, not just one small step that you can do. It can be buying the journal. It can be getting a new ink pen. It can be creating a Notion account. Whatever that one small step is, do it before next week. That is it. Okay? So until next time, keep adjusting. Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. I hope you take something away to help you make the adjustments you need. Before you go, please take a quick second to share this with someone you care about. And if you can, please leave a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform you're listening to this on. For more information about adjusting or to inquire about being a guest, head over to adjustingpod.com. Until next time.